most people you talk about, what can you do? Yes, you can sell it back. It's very important for companies. Right now, they pay huge amounts of power for peak power. The power rates change for commercial accounts.
Yeah, so I know that.
And if they now can use some kind of waste heat and generate the power, use whatever they've got and take the excess and send it back down the grid, they can save a lot of money and make money.
Welcome to Just Phil. I'm still Phil Fleischman, and I'm still your host. Come on. Let's talk to Warren Miller again. Warren, good to see you.
All right, good to be here.
Yeah, I swear you were in the same clothes you wore last week.
I guess I did.
How about that? Oh, wait a minute, me too.
Like
Sorry.
Shakira on The Voice.
So thank you for coming back and watching us talk about stuff that you never thought of. And that's exactly what we're doing here. Last week we talked about the new high store technology with metal hydrides. And we talked about one or two other things: application in space, application to refrigeration and air conditioners. We talked a little bit about battery technology. We talked a little bit about politics. We talked about the libertarians. But today we have a whole other list of things that you sent me an email on. So let's just go straight to the email. Number 2 on the list was just read the book by Charles Murphy, the Carmudgeon Guide to Getting Ahead.
Yeah, the Carmudgeon's Guide to Getting Ahead.
Explain to everybody what a curmudgeon is.
Carmudgeon is me. It's a person that's just is a grumbly person that complains about everything. But Charles Murphy is, by the way, he's a libertarian as well. He's the one that wrote the book that talked about the bell curve, and caused a lot of problems when that book came out as far as where certain people fall within that curve. And
wait a minute, let's hold that thought for a second. The bell curve.
yeah.
You may have experienced the bell curve and not realize it. Explain to everybody what the bell curve is.
It's a standard distribution of almost any set of numbers, meaning that at the low end you've got a small number of people, and then or things, and then it explodes upward,
right.
And that's where the majority lie, and then it goes back down again at the other end. So at the high end you have lower numbers, and at the low end you have lower numbers.
Okay, now let me put this in layman's terms that you're going to say, oh, you know what? I know exactly what you're talking about. Who here went to school? I went to school.
Occasionally.
Okay. You did poorly on your test. Let's just say you did poorly on a test. But wait a minute. You didn't fail the test. You made a C on the test. You passed the test. Why? Because of the bell curve. They curved the test. Has anybody heard that phrase? Curve the test. This is what they're talking about, where they take the largest number of student scores that are about the same, make that into the passing grade, so that maybe you made a 50 on the test, but you actually passed it.
Yeah.
This is a bell curve. This is exactly what it is.
Right. Now, his book took socioeconomic distribution and also ethnic distributions across education, and plotted people and puts them in that way, and it upset a lot of people.
Hold on one second, everybody. Everybody, say hello to Shayna. Shayna, say hello to everybody. This is one of my puppy dogs. Okay, what you doing here? You want to talk about the bell curve? You want to talk about the book? You want to talk about libertarians? I don't think so. You want to just say hello? She just wants to say hello. Hello, everybody. Okay. So,
But anyway, that was his earlier book, and he works for the American Institute, one of those think tanks in Washington. And this book was just a surprise out of the blue, and it's one of those things that, as you mentioned earlier, those of us of a certain age just figure it's known, and those at the other end figure it shouldn't be. As somebody with 3 kids and 3 stepkids, I know how that end works. But he talks about just the basics. Body piercings. If you're not going to make it, you know, you're going to get discounted as a human being. Period. Tattoos. They're not going to make it. You're going to get discounted. I mean, he just goes through all the basics. And the basics of communications. How to talk. Write a letter. You're not I mean, all the
no one knows how to write a letter
yeah.
anymore. They know how to text.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Now, it's funny because they'll say in a lot of the business magazines that, well, I worked in radio for 15 years. They call it telegraph talking. You don't say half the words. You just you leave them out of the telegraph. You don't say, it's 12:15, I'm Fred Flintstone, da-da-da. It's like 12:15, Fred Flintstone. You just hit it. Well, that's what people do in emails. You say, no. Say,
my God.
Write it up, and then finish it. You're not just, I'm guilty of this. I put WM. What's the end of my email? WM. I said, no. Sincerely. Cheers. Bye. Go to hell.
You know,
something.
we're talking about something that's one of my pet peeves. Okay. You send me an email, and I love getting emails. I get tons of emails, and I respond to them all. But when you send me an email, say, Dear Phil, or Phil. Use complete sentences. Okay?
Yeah. Run the spell check.
Yeah, run a spell check.
Run the spell check.
You know, put periods where periods go.
Are these
commas where commas go.
Are these going to change the government?
No, but I mean, really,
It makes a difference.
it does make a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, you take a look at and I hate to say it's the current generation, but it is the current generation that have used acronyms for everything. I mean, let's go back to President Bush. WMDs,
Yeah.
weapons of mass destruction. LOL, laugh out loud.
Yeah.
ROFLOL, roll on the floor, laugh out loud. Right?
Bush was a
WTF.
WMD.
Well,
Yeah, he was a WMD. It wasn't of mass distraction.
But oh my
Yeah,
God.
I mean, but that's this book is really full of a lot of very interesting snippets of wisdom for somebody who is somewhere between 20, 27, and about ready to hit the world and want to make something of themselves.
Okay, well that's a good thing to read.
Yeah.
I will make mention of one thing though. Tattoos. I see so many tattoos nowadays, and it becomes the social norm. But I want you to think of something here, okay? You get a tattoo right here on your arm, but in 50 years, 60 years, you're in the nursing home, and this beautiful pinup girl that you put right here is now sagging down to your elbow. Just think about this for a moment.
Well, at least you made it long enough to get the sag. But yeah, I can't. It makes no sense to me. I know that I have never been accused of being the most conventional person. My dress still doesn't usually fall within norms. I don't know what norm is.
You wear a dress?
But no, I'm just
Okay.
I have a great pair of Beetle boots that I still wear. I have a pair of leather pants they still wear. I have some really nice like velvet jackets. I mean, I look like an ex-musician, ex-disc jockey, I guess. I don't know,
But you are an ex-disc jockey.
right. But also when it's time to show up at a meeting, there are accepted protocols, and in business communication there are accepted protocols. And if you want to get to the place where you can make a difference, you have to be accepted.
Well, with that, well, I agree with you 100% on that. But social norms sometimes are not the norm. But that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're actually going to change the topic because I don't want to talk about tattoos sagging down to my elbow anymore. So listen, we'll be right back. Thank you. PAS Bookkeeping and Tax Prep is open 7 days a week to ensure you get prompt, personalized, and professional service. Call 224-6875. 224-6875. Hi, I'm Phil Fleischman, owner of PAS Bookkeeping and Tax Prep, your affordable accounting alternative. Mention this ad and save 20% off last year's tax prep fees. Call us 224-6875. 224-6875. Thank you. So listen, I'm sitting here with Warren Miller still. Warren Miller still. You are still Warren Miller.
Is that a
right?
word? Warren Miller still? One word now.
Wow. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, let's call it Webster's.
No.
Who here knows Webster? Do you know Webster?
No.
Okay, I don't know.
Oxford. I'm more an Oxford man myself.
You know, growing up, I remember having those big, dictionaries on the, a whole set of them. Matter of fact, on the desk, looking that stuff up. But listen, we're back, and I'm looking at your email. So we talked about the sorry state of politics last week. We just talked about Charles Murphy's book. Your number 3 thing here is very interesting. It is the third thing on your list here that we're going through is the sorry state of the economy and why a free market economy would work better. First of all, let's explain what a free market economy is. Besides saying that's what we have here in the United States.
Yeah. Okay, and donkeys fly.
This is what we're supposed to have here in the United States.
Thank you. Yeah, supposed to.
Okay, so let's talk about a free market economy for a moment. Now, well, I mean, what do you say?
A free market economy is going to be something that's without government intrusion.
Well, we don't have that.
There are those donkeys flying again.
Yeah.
Without supports in some sectors, not supporting other sectors depending on who voted for what. Now it gets back to politics again.
Well, let's go backwards. Let's go backwards 200 years to when we founded the United States. 200 and what, 35, whatever. At that point in time, the United States is more of an agrarian economy.
Right.
I mean, we had manufacturing in the Northeast, but we had predominantly agrarian. So a free market economy makes sense. There's no role of the government in growing soybean or growing corn. Although now there is with subsidies and then paying farmers to grow certain corns instead of others, or soybeans instead of cotton, or whatever the case may be.
Have fun explaining to me why you can justify any of that.
Well, I can't.
It
used to be
let
that
the market decide. We had corn subsidies, and we worry about the fact that we aren't going to have enough corn because we're using it now to make ethanol.
Yeah.
And
by the way, interesting fact. It takes more energy and creates more pollution to create the benefits of ethanol.
Yeah, right. But the government knows better.
And do you know that our cars today, here in the United States, get worse gas mileage with the addition of ethanol than those in Europe that don't use ethanol additives.
Right, and we have problems with the gaskets dying faster, drying out faster because of the alcohol and the gasoline and all that.
And that's why we're starting to see more and more non-ethanol options at the gas stations. They're more expensive, yeah, But is it worth it? I don't know. I mean, the cars that we have today were built specifically to handle ethanol based fuels. So I don't know. You got me on this.
There we are again with that free market economy. That the automakers have to make a car to match a bad decision made by other politicians.
It used to be that we grew enough to feed the United States. Not anymore.
Oh, we do. We just are perverting it for other sources. And what's the matter? We can't pay attention to what Brazil's doing. They're figuring out how to manufacture gasoline using something that can't be eaten.
Well, that makes sense.
Weed. Yeah, of course. You know, we don't pay any attention to what they're doing.
Well,
we've got a better idea. We're going to deplete the food supply.
Well, that sounds like fun. Let's starve ourselves. No, the economy right now is really in a very, well, it's not well. I think we all know that. Mm-hmm. I think that everybody has their own opinion as to why the economy is in the state that it is. But I'm going to throw out my theory, okay?
Yeah.
You can agree with me and you can disagree with me. But here you go. I personally believe that the government has artificially inflated our economy. They do this through artificially inflating the inflation numbers. Mm-hmm. They do this by printing excessive amounts of cash and coinage.
And when did that happen in the past?
Well, it's been going this way for a long time.
I mean, how about Germany and the results that the Germans had?
Well, the Reichsmark didn't survive too well under that. But let's go a step further. 2008, we all know the economy tanked. Mm-hmm. Housing market tanked. Yeah. They blamed it on this. They blamed it on that. How about this one? You ready? How about it was a natural adjustment to where the economy really is, because we have artificially manipulated all the numbers that we use for investing. All the cash reserves were gone. Consumer debt was at an all-time high.
Well, you had that huge chunk of the economy that was really in trouble, the housing sector, with all those loans that people didn't qualify for. The government was backing that. I mean, they had to try and, like a dog in the garden, trying to cover up its job. You know?
Listen, I got caught in the same predicament. My wife, who honestly I've never really talked about on TV, love my wife to death, was an underwriter for one of the big companies. And she would tell you right now, she was on the TV, that they underwrote loans that they should never underwritten. Mm-hmm. That the parameters were all wrong. But this is what the economy demanded. They were bundling these mortgages and selling them on the free market. Yeah. And it all went to crap. Yeah. And by the way, that is not a banned word.
What is it, bundling?
No, crap.
Oh, crap. Oh, no.
They still do it, by the way. They still bundle and sell mortgages.
They have to. The whole, it's gotten too big. You know, no bank can afford to give the amount of loans without being able to bundle them, or they wouldn't be able to serve the local markets.
I want to give you one or two definitions right here. We all talk about recession. We talk about inflation. Inflation and recession are two opposite things. Mm-hmm. They mean completely opposite. One's black, one's white. Okay? One's oil, one's water. It's as simple as that. In a recession, you can't introduce inflationary concepts to just pull it out. You have to fix it. But what did we do during the recession in 2008? We printed more money. Mm-hmm. Inflation, the definition of the inflation, is the devaluation of the dollar. In other words, the dollar is worth less than what it was. How do you do that? You make more dollars.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay. Listen, we're not going to fix the economy today. But we go back to something that I've said several times. You want to fix the economy, you want to fix this for you, then you need to look at the politicians who are running for office. You got to listen to what they are saying. You have to look at what they did in the past, and what they're saying they want to do in the future. And you need to participate. Your vote actually does count when it comes to Congress and to the state houses. It doesn't count in a presidential race. People are looking at me like, oh no, I elected Mr. Obama as president. No, you really didn't, okay? The Electoral College did. The Electoral College is a bunch of old men who sit around and they say, well, South Carolina voted 51% for Mr. Obama and 49% for whoever it was, because we can't remember at this point. So President Obama won the state, so we give him all of the votes from South Carolina. The president is not elected by popular vote. And maybe 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 30 years ago, this system works. But today with technology, maybe, just maybe, we can elect them through popular vote. Well, I tell you what, we're going to try something a little bit easier in the next section, the last part of our show. So you stay there. We'll be right back.
224-6875. 224-6875. This is Phil. PAS Bookkeeping and Tax Prep is open 7 days a week to ensure you get prompt, personalized, and professional service. Call 224-6875. Hi, I'm Phil Fleischman, owner of PAS Bookkeeping and Tax Prep, your affordable accounting alternative. Mention this ad and save 20% off last year's tax prep fees. Call us 224-6875.
And we're back with Warren Miller. So we're going down Warren's list. What do we have here? Here's the last thing that Warren wrote about. And I read it and I was like, really? But here we go. Trying to end on a lighter note, how the EU requirement to be able to remove data from the internet is an analog to what is wrong with European economics. Well, I guess I lied. This is not a light topic to end with. But let's go. For those who don't know, in the EU, they just passed a law that says that the internet companies have to be required to remove information from the internet that person doesn't want it out there. I mean, are we talking about sensitive government information? Are we talking about commentaries? Are we talking about pictures?
Topless selfies.
First of all, if you take a topless selfie, you deserve to have problems with it.
Well, I think it falls in the same category as tattoos.
They're going to sag down to their elbow when
if you're dumb enough to put the ink on, you live with it. Yeah, I think to require the Google that happened to find it from some other website that it was posted on has to be able to go running through all of their archives and just yank it out of there. It's kind of like telling the guy that put the tattoo on you that he's got to be able to undo it. Wait a minute. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And it's kind of the same way, it's the nanny state that exists in Europe on business. All the rules of how business operates, what they're allowed to do, and the coddling that the different agencies do of business in Europe.
Well, most of the viewers here are not going to know how the EU handles business in Europe. But the question is, what does it matter how the EU handles their business in the United States? Now, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, what did it matter? It didn't matter whatsoever. But today, it's not that way.
I think it matters. I think, to think that any country, no matter how small, doesn't affect somebody else. I mean, the economy of the world, we are so much larger than they are, and you look at the economies of China and the United States and Japan and measure the rest of the world against them, But we all live on this planet together, and it does affect everybody else. And the better anybody else does, the more their economy will progress, the better we can do. There's more customers for us if their economy's better.
So yeah, what happens outside of the United States does affect our economy here in the United States. On top of that, just that the trade imbalance that we have, you know, you can take a look at import-export tables and you can see that, you know, we're in a deficit right now. We import more than we export. And ideally, you know, you want to see an even, or even, you know, we want to see, you know, more revenues being generated for U.S. companies than, you know, than foreign companies.
A rising tide lifts all boats.
Well, that's true.
Is the key to you know, how you view the worldwide economy, and it's not a zero-sum game.
No, you know, and there's a lot of things. We are in a global economy now. There are a lot of things that we used to do right here in the United States we no longer do. You know, a lot of things have been jobbed to countries such as India.
Yeah.
Wages are lower on some of the more time-heavy jobs. Mexico, we have a trade agreement with Mexico that makes it more affordable to move your plant, possibly. And I'm not saying you should do this, but to move it from California to Tijuana.
Yeah.
And it's happened.
Oh yeah. The border crossings in Texas and California, it's huge because of maquiladoras across the border, and people just going back and forth.
There you go. You're right. When you're right, you're right. Well, listen, I think that we're out of time. It's great to have you.
It's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Well, good. And we'll have Warren come back pretty soon and let us know what's going on with High Store and whatever else. And enjoy seeing you. Please come back and see us again next week when we have, I don't know who's going to be on the show. You just got to come back. Listen, everybody, know your money. Have a great week. We'll see you then. Bye.
This is Calvin Logan. Would you like to appear in this show? Please email me at the screen at calvin.logan@knowyourmoney.org.
This program is produced in conjunction with Just Phil Educational Television Foundation. For more information on this episode, events, and seminars, or to make a donation, please visit us at www.jpetf.org or call 843-224-6875.
We're going to talk about the Bush era tax. That's a whole mountain. Really, it was two. Really, look back at this today.
Well, Scott, I'm going to tell you something. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea to outsource your payment. I'm not supporting